Hey everyone, how's it going? I hope everyone's doing well. Thanks for joining me once again. So I'm back today with a vinyl update as promised. So today's video will consist of showing 3 vinyl records which I picked up in the last couple of months, but things have been busy, so I've been doing other videos and threads and contests and so on, so this has been a bit delayed, but we're going to get around to that today. So 3 records, as I said, and there's 2 genres. So first of all, black metal, and then surprisingly for my channel, there's also a doom metal release, which is an absolute classic. So something a bit different, but something that perhaps people can relate to at the same time. So without further ado, we'll get straight into it. So the first band I'm going to talk about, I actually got 2 releases by them. This is a band that I've known for a long time, and I always knew the name, and I heard them on various compilations. Like, for example, in the early 90s, they were on this Black End compilation released by Plastic Head, which was sort of like a who's who of second wave Scandinavian black metal, and from other countries as well, in the early 90s, and this is when black metal was really fresh, but that band was featured anyway, so I've always known about them. But yeah, never really picked up any of their releases, but I had a tape trading friend many years ago, and he gave me a burned copy of the first album that I'm going to show, and in the last couple of years I started listening to it a lot, and I thought, why did I let this band pass me by? So anyway, I got the reissue when it came out. So this is Lord Belial with Kiss the Goat. So most of you are probably familiar, if you like black metal, with Lord Belial, but if you're not, they are a black metal band from Sweden, and I would say they're probably what you could say regard as second tier black metal. And when I say that, I don't mean to be condescending, I just mean they're not in the same league as perhaps, say, for example, Marduk or Dark Funeral or Dissection, like in terms of how popular they are, but it doesn't matter because they're sort of a close second tier, I think, and what matters is that the music is absolutely brilliant. So yeah, when I was listening to my friend's burned copy, there were just a couple of tracks that really stood out to me, so I'm very happy to finally have this. This is sort of like an old classic from the 90s, but yeah, so Kiss the Goat. Is it their first album? I'm not sure, I didn't research that, but I think it may be anyway. But just to give you an idea about their sound, it's interesting. It's fast and blasting, but there are a lot of mid-paced and slow moments as well. So those allow for some melody and atmosphere to creep in. So I would say that there's a good variety of tempos. It's not blasting all the time, and it's not always mid-paced. So they really mix up the tempos, which is good. And while it's melodic, I wouldn't say it's overly melodic. So it's not, for example, Dissection melodic or Arch Enemy melodic. Not as melodic as that, but they do have a lot of melodic moments. And that's because I think they use keyboard some of the time, and also they employ a flute player. I think on this record they did, or the next one, I'm not sure, as well as some occasional guitar solos and acoustic guitars. So they have all those like somber atmospheric moments as well. And in addition to that, though, the drumming is really clear and thunderous and heavy. There's a lot of double bass drumming, so it's absolutely fantastic. Yeah, so that flute sound that they use, though, they don't overuse it in songs. And I know that there are a lot of black metal bands out there that use flute, for example, Goat Moon or Nocturnal Mortem, but I think Lord Belial may have been one of the first, actually. But yeah, like I said, they don't use it in every single song, only when it serves the song, which I think is interesting. So for example, on this album, in the song Into the Frozen Shadows, that has some epic flute melodies in the mid-pace section, which is also featured on another song called Mysterious Kingdom. So they do use it a bit, but not all the time, which is interesting. So we'll talk about some of my favorite tracks on the album anyway. Those 2 that I just mentioned are really good. But we'll start off with, so the first track, Hymn of the Ancient Misanthropic Spirit of the Forest. That's quite a mouthful. That was the one which was on this Black End compilation. Now, that particular one, that uses keyboard lines which are interspersed with the blasting grim riffs, so it's got that real juxtaposition of sounds. And it's got a very catchy chorus, I must say. Now, another really good track is the second track, Satan Divine, because that's got a very grim-sounding heavy riff, and there are some good choppy heavy riffs in that song. So that's a shining example of how they don't always need keyboards or flutes to make a good song. So Satan Divine is a good song. Undoubtedly, my favorite song on the album, though, is Grace of God. That's track 3, obviously an ironic title. So what I love about this particular track is the section in the middle with that slow, heavy, and hypnotic riff, which has these incredible sounding, what sounds like keyboard melodies, which sound just so dark and evil, yet at the same time so enchanting and beautiful. So you probably know them the midsection of that song, or the bridge, but Grace of God, you know, where he says, and follow the 10 commandments. That's basically an eargasm for me. So that's my favorite song on the album, undoubtedly, Grace of God. Another track that I really like is The Art of Dying. That's an instrumental track, which is hypnotic, melodic, and consists of acoustic guitars only. So it's got this kind of atmospheric and reflective sound. So it's not overly depressing, but it's just atmospheric and reflective in a really good way. So despite the song title being depressive, The Art of Dying, but that's a really good one. What else? Probably my other favorite track on this is Lilith, Demonic Queen of the Black Light. That's the closing track. That's just melodic and atmospheric. There are some soaring flute melodies and melodic guitar solos in the mid-pace section of that song. And I really like the slow melodic ending with the bells and flute solo, because it's just so catchy and it sticks in your head. It's really enchanting and hypnotic. And I remember when I was listening to this again just the other day, Lilith, Demonic Queen of the Black Light, I was just whistling the tune afterwards, and quite melodically, I must say. So like, they do have these kind of infectious melodies. So I haven't mentioned all tracks here, but the whole album is good. I just mentioned the standout ones because I don't want to break this down into too much detail. But you can probably tell from the title and the imagery on the cover, clearly it's a satanic band, and that's what they're talking about, exploring in their lyrics. Just show you the cover here. Sorry about the gloss. This was reissued, as I said, by Flogger Records. So you see the goat here. I don't like the font here because it looks like it says Isthiot because they obscure these letters. And the full title, Sic Transit Gloria Mundia, or something like that. But anyway, Kiss the Goat. Yep, so picture of the band on the back, and I'll just show you the inside because it's pretty cool. Yep, so all of the lyrics here in this gatefold, which are nice and readable, and there's a picture of the band. So 5 members, and they have quite simplistic names like Bloodlord on bass, Sin on drums, Dark on vocals and guitar, Lilith on the flute, and is it Pasigo or Vasigo on guitar and vocals? Yeah. But yeah, no corpse paint for this band, but it's what the music sounds like, which is the most important thing, and corpse paint isn't mandatory, of course. But yeah, absolutely original satanic band from Sweden. Really good. Now I'll just show you the actual vinyl. So Roger, look away if you don't like coloured vinyl. It's reissued on this pink vinyl, which is unusual, isn't it, considering it's black metal? Just like Blackpink, one of my favourite bands. No, just kidding. But cool labels here. And I don't actually mind this colour because it's sort of consistent with the album cover, in the sense it's purple, you know, purple and pink. It's not just some random colour, like they're kind of associated, so that's cool. So this fan, which is absolutely essential, just gets in the way. Yep, so I'm really glad to have picked this up. Fantastic band, and I can't believe I snoozed on them for so long, but better late than never. That's Lord Belial with Kiss the Goat. All right, now, oops. All right, sorry, battery running low already, Jesus Christ. Okay, so because I picked that one up, you know, I mentioned that I picked these up from a guy in Thailand, and he had other titles available, so I thought while I'm at it, I'll pick up this one, which I've never heard before. This is Lord Belial with Enter the Moonlight Gate. So we're talking about the same band here, Swedish black metal band. First of all, I just have to mention this. This artwork is simply brilliant. You can almost tell with this kind of iconic atmospheric album artwork that it's going to be really good. And what surprised me is it actually sounded a bit different to Kiss the Goat. So how this album is different. So first of all, the flutes are still present on this album, but the additional thing is there are now some female vocals, which are featured on the opening track, Enter the Moonlight Gate, and also the last track, Realm of a Thousand Burning Souls. But what is the major difference between this album and Kiss the Goat? Like, Kiss the Goat has a variety of tempos, but this one is, generally speaking, a lot faster and a lot more aggressive and very sort of bombastic sounding. So it's got that guitar drum blasting sound, wall of sound, which is similar to that of bands such as Emperor and Dark Funeral, particularly the Dark Funeral album, Vibiscum Satanas, which is a blast fest. So yeah, if you like those kinds of bands, like the bombast of Emperor and the blasting and aggression of Dark Funeral, definitely check this out. And at the same time, they still retain elements of their old sound, like from Kiss the Goat. But yeah, like track 2, which is Unholy Spell of Lilith. So Lilith is a recurring theme within the band. That's a fine example of this Emperor Dark Funeral-esque war of sound. So still retaining that sound, but a lot more aggressive. And another thing about this album is tracks 3 and 5. So like, I think that's Path with Endless Horizons and Black Winter Bloodbath as well. Like, they contain some mid-paced, bouncy, dissection-esque sounding riffs, you know, where they're kind of bouncy and melodic, and they're often chugging and melodic, with some epic and mid-paced melodies over the top. And there are also a lot of acoustic guitars too. So there are sort of like flashes or, you know, certain nods to dissection along the way, but it's not a dissection clone, not at all. But yeah, so you see how it's changing a bit from the first album, but they're just expanding their sound a bit in a really interesting way, I find. And talking about my favorite tracks, first of all, I would say Lamia, that's track 4. That's just got this very dark and haunting guitar wall of sound and keyboards, which sound very similar to Emperor. And it also includes an epic mid-paced melodic section, which reminds me of perhaps old Dimmu Borgir and the Finnish black metal band Faustian Call. So when I mention Dimmu Borgir, don't be put off by that. I mean old Dimmu Borgir, like for all tid, you know, for those old school people who don't like the new stuff. Yeah, so yeah, there are certain nods to the Norwegian sound, definitely, particularly on that track Lamia. The other, yeah, so Black Winter Bloodbath is absolutely great, as I mentioned. Another track I really like is the acoustic track on side 2, which is entitled Forlorn in Silence. So yeah, that's an acoustic instrumental consisting of classical guitar, very much in the vein of Ulver's Kveldsanger album, which is my favorite Ulver album, so no wonder I like it. And yeah, Belial, Northern Prince of Evil is good. And my other favorite track is the last one, Realm of a Thousand Burning Souls. That begins with some sinister, dark, mid-paced riffs and screeching guitar solos, so it sounds very evil straight away. And it contains, it's mostly a mid-paced track though, with some galloping riffs and some acoustic interludes, so they change it up. And it can also contain some very fast sections and blast beats. So the last track is a really epic mixed bag of a track, which I like. There's a massive variety of tempos and atmospheres on that song, and I really like the part in the song where there's the raspy vocals over the acoustic guitars. So absolutely great release, which in my opinion, it's retaining the roots of the Lord Belial sound, but just expanding upon them in an interesting way. So absolutely brilliant. Like I said, I absolutely love this cover art here. So here you have the picture on the back. And interesting, like the portraits are similar to that of Emperor on In the Nightside Eclipse, so maybe that's deliberately what they were going for, considering the sound of this album is often mimicking Emperor. Now I'll show you the gatefold once again. So this is also released on Flogger Records. You can see there's a bit of gloss on the cover, but it's alright. And yeah, just a picture of the band with all of the lyrics. So I think it's the same band members actually, except Lilith is no longer a full-time member, but they do have the flutes anyway, so there you go. So I will say, yeah, all of the lyrics on this are nice and readable. I need to spend more time with them, but like I said, it's basically satanic and praising Satan. And just show you the actual cover. Sorry, not cover, the actual record. This one comes on splatter vinyl. So that's interesting, and you can see the blue, it's consistent with the front cover. To be completely honest, I'm not the biggest fan of splatter vinyl like this, but it is cool. I mean, you can do a lot worse with some vinyl designs, but I would have liked if it just had, see this general blue color, like the color of the sky, if the whole disc was like that. But maybe, once again, that's me just being a picky bitch. But yeah, you see here, you've got the labels, which is cool. Yeah. So, and again, I'd rather this, like a blue splatter vinyl, than some random color like red or green, which some releases and reissues stupidly do, and it's very annoying. Yeah, but absolutely fantastic release. So I would recommend both of these albums. So this is Lord Belial with Enter the Moonlight Gate. But yeah, Kiss the Goat is very good as well. So I can't decide which one I like more. They're both really good. There you go. All right, so that's Lord Belial, black metal from Sweden. And now we're staying in Sweden, but we're going to a completely different genre. And I cannot believe that I snoozed on this band for so long. I am decades late to the party, but I will explain why. As most of you know, I'm not really the world's biggest doom metal fan. Like, I do like some bands, but I think my favorite doom metal band is Cathedral, and they're not exactly purely doom because they incorporate elements of, you know, hard rock and psychedelic, you know, retro rock, like 60s and 70s rock, that kind of thing. But I really like Cathedral, but a lot of doom bands I never got into because I always found the music, dare I say it, a bit too slow and boring, but there are some exceptions. Obviously, like, I'll be honest with you, I never got into My Dying Bride or Paradise Lost, but obviously I like Black Sabbath. They're the godfathers of doom metal in the sense that they didn't call themselves doom metal, but they were the blueprint, you know, with the heavy doom-laden sound and everything like that. So, sorry, the neighbors across the road there. Yeah, so just nosing around there. Yeah, sorry, I lost my train of thought. Yeah, so I do like Black Sabbath. And then my brother introduced me to some other famous doom bands like Pentagram, which I do like. I've got to check out St. Vitus more, but this is one band that I really like, and I'm so happy to have finally picked it up. This is Candlemass with Nightfall. So for most of you who know doom metal, Candlemass need no introduction. They essentially created the genre of doom metal, you know, with their first album, Epicus Doomus Metallicus. So Candlemass are a band from Sweden, and yeah, what they did was they built on what Black Sabbath did and just made it slower and heavier and more doom-laden and more epic, with brilliant results. But this is undoubtedly my favorite, and the reason why I like this one, this album, it sounds strange, but this album has a kind of nostalgic quality to me, and it sounds, when I first played it, it sounded like something I had heard before, yet I hadn't heard it before, if that makes sense. Probably not, but maybe I had heard a few songs here and there, but it's just got this absolutely classic doom metal sound, and I can see how like old Amorphous got a lot of influence from this actually, but the way, I might be rambling a bit, but the way I rediscovered this band, so to speak, is when I discovered the band Megaton Sword through Chris Horrocks' Audio Obsession from Canada. And when I heard the vocals on that Megaton Sword album, I thought they reminded me a bit of King Diamond's Mid-Range. And then there was this some other band, I go, I know there's a band before and the vocals sound similar, and it was of course Candlemass, the song Bewitched. This was a couple of years ago and I played it on YouTube, absolutely loved that song, so I thought, Bewitched is my favorite Candlemass song, so that's why I chose to buy this one, but I'm probably going to pick up more. Now, most of you don't need an introduction to this. I don't need to describe this music in detail, but I really like how this is just a huge epic album consisting of marching heavy riffs, pulsing bass, melodic guitar solos, thunderous drumming, and truly unique vocals. These vocals are absolutely enchanting and mesmerizing. Like that's Messiah on this album who does the vocals. His vocals sound melodic, haunting, and truly witchy, which I absolutely love. And for me, when I listen to this, my mind gets immersed in this fantasy world of imagination. And there are very dramatic and theatrical moments on this album, which I really like, an amazing vocal range. So it's like an epic journey which paints pictures in my mind. That's how I see this. And in addition to that, just they use some haunting synths for extra atmosphere. It's absolutely great. I love the chugging riffs, and the guitar tone on this album is absolutely awesome, with the drums hammering the heaviness home. And what I like, remember I said that I think a lot of doom metal is too slow and too boring. What I like about this album is it's not too slow. Often it's mid-paced and even upbeat without being completely fast. So it's sort of smashing those cliches that doom metal has to be slow and sludgy all the time. Yeah, so some of the riffs are kind of even mid-paced and thrashy, I would say. For example, in the songs At the Gallows End and the fast riffs in Dark Are the Veils of Death. And yeah, like I said, there's some keyboards to lift up the drama, as well as some acoustic guitars and melodies for added atmosphere. That's all I'll say about it. But just go and listen to this album. Absolutely fantastic. Now, it's hard for me to name favorite songs because that's pretty much all of them. I'll just name some features that I like about these songs. First of all, the opening track, Gothic Stone, that's just got some mesmerizing vocal melodies which paint pictures in my mind. Absolutely. So, another song that I really like is At the Gallows End. Yep, which has some hypnotic and mesmerizing guitar harmonies. And I really like Samaritan because that's got some excellent epic storytelling, especially with the lyrics of that song. So the lyrics play a big part in this album in addition to the music. And some other favorite songs of mine are also, March Funebra, which is a marching track to the drums of war with some atmospheric guitar harmonies, so that's an instrumental. I also really like Dark Are the Veils of Death because that's got some awesome guitar solos and some heavy chugging riffs in that song. Mourner's Lament, another really good song. So side 2 I pretty like, much like every track. That's got hypnotic riffs and guitar harmonies to the backdrop of a chiming bell, and these harmonies seem to influence a lot of doom and death doom metal bands to come later, undoubtedly, and I'm sure they did. Candlemass is a massively influential band. And I like the driving bass in that song. There's brilliant guitar solo and harmonies in that song, and this track just keeps building and building. That's Mourner's Lament, so one of my favorite tracks. But absolutely, without a doubt, unequivocally, unquestionably, my favorite track is Bewitched, because it was the first Candlemass track I heard. Just love the song, love the video clip, fucking brilliant. I love the riff, amazing riff. I love the vocals, and it's just heavy as balls with some plodding grooves and great guitar solos. And I think this was the first album with Messiah, correct me if I'm wrong, but I love the intro, you know, when they've got the band members gathering around mourning at a funeral, and then all of a sudden when the vocals are about to kick in, Messiah bursts out of a coffin in a cloak and he points at the screen. It's just fucking brilliant. I love it. So Bewitched, love that song. And incidentally, in that video clip, a young dead, you know, Per Ingve Orlin, you know, from Mayhem, he actually participated in that clip, being one of the people who were doing the plodding walk and the headbanging. So a bit of trivia for you there. I'm sure a lot of you know that. And yeah, album rounds off with Black Candles, which has got some got a melancholic and haunting main riff, and it's introduced by some acoustic guitars. But there's no songs I dislike on this album, and this is certainly an album to listen to in its entirety. So there you go. I've been proven wrong. I used to think, no, I don't like doom metal that much, but obviously I wasn't listening to the right bands or the right albums. So let me know what you think of this album. I know a lot of friends on YouTube and on Facebook, you know, through the VC community, especially in the UK, they love doom metal, so I'm sure they're big fans of this. But you tell me, guys, what are some doom metal bands you absolutely recommend that you think I would like? I know it's all subjective. Like I said, I didn't get into Paradise Lost or My Dying Bride all that much, but I don't know, recommend some albums, some bands I'd be happy to hear. If there's anything as good as this, definitely interested to check it out. Okay, so I love this atmospheric artwork, really cool. You've just got the song titles on the back, and this is a pretty bare bones version, which came, oh yeah, with this Peaceville flyer, order catalog, and is there any insert? Perhaps not. No, but just comes in this very basic sleeve, so picture of the band there. Yep, so there's Messiah, the vocalist, and all of the lyrics here. But yeah, absolutely fantastic band. And you know, every element, like I keep mentioning, you know, how Messiah is very charismatic, but honestly, this whole band is brilliant, and the musicians make the music, like the guitars, bass, drums, vocals, it's all awesome. So yeah, I know I'm probably preaching to the converted already, but if you haven't checked this out, definitely do so, because I think it's an absolutely brilliant, not just doom metal album, but metal album. Fantastic. So that's Candlemass with Nightfall. All right. So that's it, guys, believe it or not, just 3 vinyls today, and I've probably gone into enough detail anyway, but this is something I've been meaning to do for a while. I've got a lot of other videos coming up. Next video, I'm going to go back to my existing CD collection, and then I have some response videos to do and tags, so the ideas never end. So yeah, I'm not going to run out of material. So thanks a lot for watching, as always. Take care, and I will be back again hopefully later this week, I think. So it's not my last video for the year, but probably one of the last ones. But I hope you stick around to watch the rest in the meantime. Excuse me. All right, so thanks a lot, guys. Take care. Thanks for your support of the channel. Please consider subscribing if you haven't, and I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.